where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Pilecki goes, dives onto the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys. Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Pilecki. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. You know, it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vita Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass. Oh, a 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernot. Gernot will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
Last round in the land of the rising sun, the preacher had yet again everyone praying for mercy. A perfect wire-to-wire performance saw him take the victory. Still in the lead after last week's second place at Okayama, Gernot Fritzsche just has to stay clean in the last 2 rounds and the crown will be his. Wood, Millward and Bycroft will try to change the story in their favor. However, with every round ticking by, their mountain to climb gets bigger and bigger. Who will come out on top this time around? Everything is wide open, especially at a track like Detroit Belle Isle. So we welcome you all in as we get ready to watch the penultimate round of the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. The crew to give you all the stats and storylines will be real-world IndyCar driver Richie Hearn, joining myself, Stefan Schlacher. Turning the knobs and pushing the buttons behind the scenes is our director, the Doctor, Amjad Yamin, and he's using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Richie, you yourself have experience on this track in an IndyCar. However, I have a feeling that it's a little bit of a different beast with these classic ground effect cars. What's your take on Belle Isle?
Yeah, thank you, Stefan. Yeah, it's going to be a tough track for these cars. I would consider this iRacing's version of Monaco Grand Prix and the Lotus 79 Championship. The track is very narrow. It's very fast. The biggest thing is it's very, very bumpy, and it has a lot of crowning in the road. So when you go through the corners, that right front tire basically comes off the ground if you're making a right-hand corner or left front tire if you're making a left corner. It's going to be very tough for these drivers to not only control the beast, but put the power down and just try to keep the car off the walls. The track is 2.3 miles long with 14 turns, 9 right and 5 left. It is obviously located in Detroit, Michigan, in the good old USA. But probably the best way for your viewers to see what this track is like is to jump on board that GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Amjad Yamin in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Detroit. Down into 1 and 2, there isn't a whole lot of braking for these S's, but with the incredible power of the Lotus wheels, you've got to be extra careful over the nasty crest on the exit. All around this track, you'll get a great sense of how bumpy this surface is just by listening to the sound of the drivetrain wobbling out of nearly every corner. Turn 3 is going to easily be the most popular place to pass, but you've got to be careful because there's no room to run wide coming off of there. You've got a short burst on the power before you hit the brakes again for 4, which is more open than you'd expect for a street course. 5 is the opposite though. It's off camber and tightens on the exit, leaving little room for side-by-side racing. 6 is going to be critical, especially with a little crest on the entry. Turn in too late and you could understeer into the tires. If you're forced to lift, it'll hurt your momentum all the way down the backstretch. Straighten out these weaving gentle curves and then we hit turn 7. This is the only other decent place to attempt to pass, but it now leads us into the fountain section. Drivers will need a lot of patience through here, both with the throttle and with traffic. Expect the racing to be mostly single file unless someone makes a huge error. Watch how aggressive you are with the curbs though, because it'll be easy to upset the car. Also, 11 will be the slowest here at the end, so don't get caught out by trying to carry your momentum through it. Now we fly towards 12 and 13. The first corner will require a lot of braking, but the second one only needs a little lift before you'll be easing your right foot down again. From there, it's easily flat out through 14, and hopefully, if you've kept it all together, you've now finished a lap around Detroit.
And that was Joe Peak telling you how to successfully master a lap around the extremely bumpy Detroit. But now let us take you a quick lap around the championship standings. And first up, we're gonna have a look at the driver championship. And Gernot Fritzsche, as already mentioned, still in the lead after Okayama. But Matt Wood just 27 points behind. He really has to keep Gernot honest here. And Gernot, just as said, keep clean. Adam Fraser already 170 points behind, but he gained 2 positions last time around. And Stephen Bycroft 4 points behind Adam Fraser, so that's also a battle we will have to watch. Sergio Fernandez, last but not least on this standings, minus 234 points, well out of the championship picture, but still very close up to that 3rd place. Another standing that's very close, Richie, it's the team standings. Seems like we have a little bit of technical problems with Richie Hearn, so I'm going to talk you through the team standings too, where Martini Racing is leading right now with 29 points ahead of Equipe Renault Elf. 3rd place is Scuderia Ferrari, 42 points behind. There's also a little bit of a gap between the 2nd and 3rd place. Alicia Chitan, 50 points behind, 8 points behind Ferrari, so also very close between them. And then in 5th place, 7 points behind Alicia, we have the Marlboro team McLaren. And let's try again. Do we have Richie here?
I am here.
Well, Richie, how are the race details for today?
Yeah, let me cover that for you here. We are in round 11 of 12, so we're getting right near the end of the championship. This race is going to be 33 laps, about 45 minutes long. You do have open setups, but they don't have to stop for fuel or tires, so it'll just be a straight-up race. They do use the 17 incident cap that iRacing implements, and they also use the official iRacing points. But I think if you can get to 17 incidents without crashing out of the race, you should probably get the win anyways.
That is pretty much the point. Yeah, if you get those 17 incidents, or 16 incidents rather, finish the race without crashing, then yeah, that's I think that even gives you then iRacing even gives you the win. Pretty sure about that. Either way, Johan Orolampi, guess what? First, yet again, ahead of Alex Millward right now in 2nd place. Matt Wood 3rd, Nicola Kochi 4th, and your 5th place right now goes to John Stevens, about 4.5 minutes into the qualifying. Gernot Fritzsche coming over the line here soon, going through the last right-hand kink. Let's see what he can do on his first fast lap. Goes up to 3rd place with a 20.277.
Yeah, qualifying is going to be king here because the passing is very difficult and tight. And if you're starting probably 5th on back, you're going to be susceptible to a crash at the start, as turns 1 and 2 are very fast and tough to negotiate side by side. So I think Gernot's want to try to maybe get up one more row there. But Nora Lampi, man, he is really putting the laps down.
Nora Lampi, he put in just another fastest lap, now 3/10 ahead of everyone else with that 2nd lap, where he put 2/10 between himself and the already fastest lap of this qualifying. As we see Pablo Suarez coming out of the line. What can he do? Does improve 21.4. That gets him to...
Oh, and Matt Wood just popped up to 3rd spot there, right above Gernot.
Only 200th between the two.
And he's been battling Gernot pretty much all year for this championship. And, you know, he tried really hard last week to catch him and get in front of him. Just couldn't quite make it happen. So starting in front of him might be the advantage that he needs.
Well, he would have needed that advantage, but Gernot Fritzsche with a 20.061, putting himself into 2nd place. So he will start directly in front of Matt Wood if nobody jumps in between the two, as Todd Herner comes over the line with a 125.1. That didn't count for him. No, it did. Actually, it did. He got one more lap. Right now is the last car that has qualified. and is also the only car still remaining to qualify.
Well, this is going to be exciting. Looks like we'll have a straight-up shot between a race between Noralampi and Frisch. Noralampi's been on fire lately, so this should be exciting.
When is Noralampi not on fire? That is the biggest question of this series. As Todd Herner comes now into the ever so tricky right hand. I don't know, it is a 90-degree corner, but it always feels like a hairpin because of how slow it is to drive.
Yeah, it kind of tightens up on you at the exit, so it's a 90-degree corner, but the outside wall comes in on you, and you're coming in so fast that you never slow down enough, and it's that is a tricky part of the track. I like this section right here. He's coming up to these fast right-handers. It's just pretty much one long corner, and then just leads onto that front straightaway.
On the front straightaway is where he's gonna come. Does he improve? Yes, he does. A 20.2, no longer last. He is now second last. Puts himself into 21st. Two drivers didn't take qualifying, and with Todd Herner parking his car, that is it for the qualifying. So we're gonna shoot you obviously directly into your starting grid, and atop of that, Johan Noralampi smiles and is probably the guy to beat here with Gernot Frisch on the right side in second place. Alex Milward, third place. Matt Wood, fourth. Nicola Kochi, fifth place. Adam Fraser, sixth. Rob Olenek returning to the series again after his vacation, down in seventh place. Eduardo Prado in eighth. John Stevens, ninth place. And rounding out your top 10, Alberto Pellegrini.
Barry West is going to start 11th there on the inside, right next to Pablo Suarez. John Atkinson Jr. in 13th with Dustin Herder in 14th. Tommy Unhola, a little bit farther down than he likes to be, but down in 15th spot. Ove Trengarade, same thing. He's usually up a little bit farther up, but he's starting 16th. Pekka Kalahara in 17th. Robert Simpkins in 18th. Keith Herner 19th. And Nicholas Mukanos in 20th. I'll just finish it out here. Todd Herner, as we mentioned, starting 21st. Steve Sarles 22nd. And a couple drivers did not put times in or didn't complete a clean lap as Adnan Dezarevic and Georgios Kakaleteris.
In the 24 drivers in total, as it seems like we have everyone on the grid already by now. So it's only a few more moments until we go green here for round 11 from the Detroit Raceway at Belle Isle.
And this track was never set up for a standing start, so you can see half the field is around the corner. So this will be interesting. That first right and left-hand corner is going to be really tricky, like I said, going side by side, especially going onto the backstretch over that hump.
And off they go, Noralampi with a great start, and we have a little bit of a side-by-side for P4, which also now goes into single file. So far so clean for the top 5, all they go over the hump.
As they come down the back straightaway to turn 3, Noralampi's got a nice little cushion to Gernot Frisch at the moment. I think everybody's trying to just kind of feel it out with the cold tires.
Alberto Pellegrini, you might have seen it, got a little bit of a bump there in the back half of your screen. Keeps it together, everyone stays in line. No problems apart from that in the first 6 turns of this motor race.
Everybody's doing a great job. I'm really happy to see that, just a clean start. I think everybody's maybe a little bit scared of this track a little bit, maybe not being as aggressive, but nicely done. Although they all single file. Everybody seems to still be running.
Still running and still running strong is your leader. Still a leader, Juha Noralampi, stretching out ever so slightly over Gernot Frisch. Coming.
We got an accident in the back there. Once again, a little crash there kind of blocks the track for everybody else.
And I don't know, it seems to me as if Prado didn't get his gear in there.
That's another, he got wide there, clipped the outside tires, clipped the wall, drove up the wall. Actually, nothing really happened. He kind of kept going. Doesn't look like he has any damage on the track, just kind of lost a couple of spots. So that was lucky for him and everybody behind him.
And there you can see how he doesn't accelerate out of the turn. Completely surprising the car behind. Hits him in the back, which seems to have gotten his gear in for him, and he drives off again, getting also overtaken by his teammate. Up in front, Gernot Fritzsche, he is starting to lose Nora Lampi ever so slightly, but a person he's not losing is the car behind of Alex Millward.
Yeah, Nora Lampi just putting the laps together, and Gernot's got to worry about Alex at this point. There's really only one true passing spot, and that's coming out of turn 2 down that long straightaway. So Alex is going to just have to try to stay tight until he can get to that point. But Gernot's really good through this section. He's starting to gap him out a little bit. So I don't see if we're going to see a pass coming up just yet.
Matt Wood also not too far behind the two battling. He really has to get up there, otherwise it's gonna be even worse for him to clinch that title against the currently championship leading Gernot Fritzsche, 2 cars ahead of him.
Yeah, it's pretty much do or die for this race for Matt Wood if he wants to claim that championship. He really needs to get up there and actually finish in front of Gernot, or Gernot has to have some bad luck. That doesn't happen very often, so Matt's got to have to just kind of make it happen. And at the moment, it doesn't look like he quite has the speed to do that just yet.
Currently looking a little bit through the field. We also have a little bit of a fighting pack for P12, I think that is, between the leader of that group is Pablo Suarez. They're now heading their way into turn 7 themselves. There you can see it nicely on the screens.
Yeah, he's got John Atkinson right behind him and about 5 other cars. So he's the cork in the bottle at the moment, and he's doing everything he can as John Atkinson is really trying hard to get around him. And there's just nowhere to do that at this point unless that driver makes a big mistake.
John Atkinson there running with a little bit of a tribute to the past Niki Lauda.
Yeah, he almost got run into the back of by Tommy Nuhola.
And Gernot Fritzsche got overtaken by Millward. That happened into turn 3. We're actually gonna send you on to replay there.
Yeah, Alex got a great run off turn 2 and a little bit of a draft and just went around the outside. I think as a little bit of Gernot being a little bit careful at this point in the race, not pushing the issue. It's going to put Matt Wood right behind him, but it's still early days in this race to kind of really push that issue. Maybe later on the race, he might not have let him have it so easy.
Gernot Fritzsche obviously thinking big picture here. Rather have Millward pass him and not make anything stupid out of it while trying to defend that position, because he still has Matt Wood behind him. Juha Norolampi, meanwhile, still continues to drive away at the line. 1.9 seconds between Norolampi and Millward now. And then it's about half a second down to Gernot Fritzsche, who is still continuing his drive in 3rd place.
Yeah, we did have a pass for, looks like Tommy Unhola got around John Atkinson Jr. at the end of that back straight that we were just talking about. Looks like John went a little bit wide and missed the corner. And that's going to put Tommy up to 13th.
Started in 15th, the Finnish driver. Seems like he is starting to gather some momentum himself, get into the rhythm. Next car ahead of him, that is Pablo Suarez. And seems like something happened to Keith Herner, who is spun out right now. That is turn, 5?
Yeah, he actually got hit, looks like, by Robert Simpkins.
seems like Herner had some issues out of turn 4.
Oh, yeah.
And lost it right in front of Simpkins, who wasn't able to avoid that.
Yeah, it looks like Keith just kind of lost the rear end. And Simpkins had nowhere to go but to just pile drive him off to the side.
Unfortunate for both of them, but it seems like both of them were able to continue, although Keith Herner with quite a lot of damage and is actually crabbing back to the pit. So probably his race done for today. In P9 we see the comeback of Eduardo Prado, who first got that big hit by, I think that even was Barry West, or maybe it was John Stevens ahead. Either way, he is trying to climb back up. He is now into 9th position after overtaking Barry West. And next up on his hit list is John Stevens.
Yeah, Prado got really lucky on the early part where he clipped the wall and just kind of rode up the side of it and kept going. So he's going to probably be able to get back up to where he started pretty soon. Right now we got Nicola Kochi is right on the back tail of Matt Wood for that 4th position. I saw Matt Wood a little bit earlier make a big mistake and allowed Nicola to catch back up to him. And that's kind of left Gurno all alone in 3rd spot.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. At first, it kind of looked to me that Gernot Fritzsche is a little bit of a cork in the bottle. But once Millward got past Fritzsche, Fritzsche was able to pick up again, and he is still staying close to Alex Millward, but not able to do anything. And now they are starting to drive away from Matt Wood, who seems to holding Nicola Kochi up a little bit at this point in the race.
Yeah, Matt Wood's right behind Gurno for a bit, but now he's struggling a little bit, and Nicola Kochi's got the bit in his teeth trying to get back, take that 4th spot away.
Oh, and Unhola just got past Pablo Suarez. That happened through turn 3 and 4. They were actually side by side through both of these turns. So Unhola now up to P12.
Yeah, this is quite a nice job by Tommy Unhola and Suarez to be able to go through that section side by side. There's not a lot of room, and these curbs are pretty tall. So if we stay on this, you'll see Suarez right here. He's going to clip that curb, and surprisingly didn't throw him into the side of Tommy Unhola, but that was good racing.
Yes, I think that was Johan Orlampi who's just set the fastest lap of the race, 20.562. So he really continues to drive away, but only by a 10th over Alex Millward. And Gernot Fritzsche now starting to drop off a little bit of the back of Millward. So he's starting to think safety first. I'm driving away from Wood, so let's keep that 3rd place and keep more points in between myself and Wood.
Racing for that 4th spot. Matt Wood just kind of getting his rhythm back and pulling a little bit away from Nicola Kochi. He had some heat from him, but not so much right now. But I was going back to that 13th spot, and Suarez is really struggling to stay ahead of John Atkinson Jr., and he's got about 4 cars behind him as well, as you can see on screen there. And man, if Suarez makes a mistake, he's going to lose about 6 spots really quickly.
As they go now the right-hander into the fountain section. This left-hander, I feel like it's always a tricky jump because you have the dip bump sort of thingy. And I would imagine with cars like especially Lotus 79, which has such a stiff suspension, it's either in general a very tricky track here in Detroit.
I'm really happy to see how this race is going. I know it's not really a lot of passing, but these guys are doing a great job. I mean, we've had no real big incidents or anything like that, and I can't tell you how hard this track is to drive, not only in just any car, but in this car in particular, just because it doesn't have all the modern conveniences of ABS or traction control or whatever. So these guys are doing a good job. They definitely put in their practice time.
traction control and ABS is so mid-90s and nobody needs that. Obviously, not even Formula 1 nowadays has those things. I don't, if I remember correctly, IndyCar doesn't either. So yeah, it's all about the drivers in cars like these.
We got a pass for Unhola's going by Alberto Pellegrini for 10th spot, or for 11th spot there. So Tommy's doing a good job. Probably not happy with his qualifying spot, but he is definitely moving up. He's started 15th, now running 11th, and he's making his presence known.
I am starting to think that Alberto Pellegrini is one of those drivers who is a little bit scared of this track in this car, because he was in 9th place at one point, or actually in 8th place at one point, and he's starting to slowly go down the order. Now he's in 12th position. So Alberto Pellegrini really dropping positions, and a guy on the move, that is Tommy Unhola, now trying to overtake Barry West for that P10.
And he's going to try to go around the outside here. Barry West isn't going to let him have it too easy. Barry's had kind of a quiet race so far until Tommy's caught up to him, and now he's not only got Tommy behind him, but also Alberto, and so Barry's got his hands full at the moment.
Up ahead, you're not missing anything, because the guys, the top 5, are really spreading out at this point of time. The closest gap right now is about a second between who is that, Matt Wood and Nicola Kochi, but even they are separating themselves.
Yeah, this little train here, you can see Barry really has his hands full, because it's not just Tommy and Unhola, but he's got Pellegrini and Suarez and John Atkinson. So Barry's he's doing fine by himself earlier on, but he's all of a sudden... Kalahara just getting loose a little bit, still not hitting anything, so nicely done. But I'm going to say Barry's all of a sudden gone into defensive mode, and that's just backed him all the way up to these gentlemen.
Tommy Unhola coming out of turn 2 once again much better than Barry West. Will he be able to take an opportunity into turn 3? He is closing in, goes to the inside, sells the dummy there, and he makes it happen. It has a little bit of a slide over the apex, but room given by Barry West, and move him up into your 10th position.
Yeah, great job by Tommy. Barry gave him just enough room to get by on the inside, and Tommy took it. But now Barry's going to have to worry about Pellegrini and Suarez, etc. As Tommy's definitely shown he's got a faster car than where he qualified. He's probably done the most passing, so he's going to take him 15th to top 10 right now.
I never know what it is with this fountain section, but I just love it. For some reason, in no matter what car, it's just so challenging to drive, but yet so rewarding if you get it right over and over again. And the guy who is doing that the best right now is your still current leader, Juha Norlampi, leading by about 2 seconds over Alex Millward. But Millward keeping Juha Norlampi honest at this point. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, that gap's kind of been steady at about 2 seconds. Last lap, Norlampi did a 20.72. Millward did a 20.76. But a big gap to Gurno at that point, as he just did a 21.4. So it's really these two drivers kind of running up front. And Norlampi, even though he's controlled the race, if he makes one small mistake, it's going to be all over. So he's definitely not on cruise control.
In behind, though, Gernot Fritzsche, he's starting to make some mistakes. He's right now riding in 3rd place, but Matt Wood definitely has right now more speed than Fritzsche, and he is really closing in last lap by about 6/10.
Yeah, and that's the driver that Matt Wood really, if he needs to beat anybody, that's the driver he needs to get by. Now, catching him is one thing, but I don't think Gurno's going to be so just let him by kind of on an easy matter. So the championship is kind of on the line, and it's in Gurno's control, but anything can happen.
Yeah, remember, it's only 27 points between the two drivers. And no drop points at all to Gernot Friedrich, but 166 in the pocket for Matt Wood. And behind Nicola Kochi, hanging on for pretty much dear life. He is able to go with the speed Matt Wood is going, but he is most of the time dropping ever so slightly in the lap times, and Adam Fraser, he really isn't able to go with the guys ahead of him, losing about half a second per lap, pretty much in a little bit of a no man's land, 5 seconds ahead and 7 seconds behind.
Yeah, Tommy Nhola's been able to put together some good laps. He's starting to reel in John Stevens here, and he's going to be battling for that 9th spot. He's left Barry West all alone to fend off all those other drivers, so Tommy's on the mission.
Yeah, and if we could get the camera on John Stevens, especially his front wing, I'm showing some damage on his car. I wonder if that is hindering him.
Yeah, he definitely has some damage, and that could just happen by hitting some of these tall curbs a little too hard. And I don't know how much it's hurting him, but it's definitely not helping, that's for sure, as John Stevens' last lap was a 23.1 and Tommy was a 22.1. So here he comes.
Wow, 21.0 there for Unhola, bettering his own fastest lap time by 3/10. So he's really on a roll right now.
Barry West still leading a big train of cars, basically 11th on down to 18th, it looks like.
Last car on that train is Nicolas Mucanos in the number 11. Obviously a very known name out of the Camel GT series, so going from a retro to retro racing there. And Barry West really seems like he's currently struggling with his car, with his pace, and Alberto Pellegrini is having a run up to turn 7. Will he try to take it? No, he does not. Backs off of him, but a little bit of a mistake there. Not able to do anything with that as Barry West continues in your 11th place.
Yeah, and that really stacked up Suarez behind Pellegrini, who and John Atkinson almost ran to the back of him. So we got a big battle here. Something's going to happen at some point. So hopefully these guys all can make some clean passes, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few tears after this race for this group of drivers.
This time around, John Stevens ahead did better his own lap times. He's now back into the 22.3s, so he only lost 2/10 to Unhola, but he still continues to lose time to Unhola ahead of this battle group, as Pellegrini once again not able to get close enough to the back of Barry West into turn 3, so they stay still 11th and 12th.
I'd like to go back to point out that Alex Millward has dropped another half a second to Norlampi, so he's steadily creeping up to him. So we're just not quite halfway, and Alex kind of getting there a little bit at a time.
Yeah, once again a 10th out of the lead of Juha Norlampi, so Norlampi either taking it easy or Alex Millward just really right now the faster driver of the two. In behind, Matt Wood stopped gaining on Gernot Friedrich. They're right now pretty much similar on pace, only about, what is that, 700th of a second between the two.
And also Tommy Nhola's is now right on the back of John Stevens, so he's closed that gap up pretty quickly. That wing probably hurting John more than we thought, as Tommy's on a mission to get in the top 9.
And here he is coming, having a run down under the Penske sign. Will he take it to the inside? Yes, he will. Into turn 3. Both they go side by side, and Unhola makes the pass happen before the apex.
Very nicely done. Move Tommy Unhola up one spot. Next victim would be Eduardo Prado, and he's quite a bit away, so it's going to be a little bit. If Tommy can catch him, it's going to be a few laps before that will happen.
Yeah, the interesting part of that will be if Tommy Unhola is actually able to even gain on Prado, as Prado last lap time at 21.185 compared to 21.9 of Tommy Unhola, even his fastest lap only at 21.8. So Unhola has to find something, otherwise that is going to be the end of his journey on the leaderboard. A guy who is also on the run right now is Alex Millward. Back-to-back fastest laps at 20.4 and now at 20.3.
Yeah, Alex is really finding his groove as the fuel burns down. These cars tend to feel a little bit more balanced as you get rid of the fuel, and the tires last the whole race, so they just seem to get a little bit better each time, and he's really working it, giving Noah Lampia a little bit of a worry at the moment.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see how that is gonna evolve. They really dropped Gernot Friedrich. It's now about, 6 seconds between the two, 5.7 seconds. I am reading here on the screens. So yeah, Gernot Friedrich really not up to the pace of these two guys. It's pretty much just a two-man show up in front.
Yeah, Matt Wood has not been able to put a dent in Gernot's run as well, so all those basically third, fourth, and fifth have all kind of just separated themselves out, and for Adam Fraser, real quiet race, started sixth, running sixth all by himself. Really the battle is between Noah Lampia and Millward, and then, once again, back at that cork in the bottle with Barry West and about 6 cars behind him. That battle rages on still.
Barry West always here to excite. Also, we have to say, Eduardo Prado, he is starting to catch Rob Olenek, even though he made a mistake this lap around and lost a second. He is catching Olenek, so we might see a battle soon here also for that P7. Oh, Pellegrini, what a slide from him over the hump in turn 2. Oh, and in behind. Who was that? It's Pekka Kalahara. What happened to him there over the hump off turn 2?
Yeah, just a very fast corner, just over the hill. Just gets a little light. See the correction in the steering and into the wall. And fortunately, not more cars are collected in there. He's able to keep going, but his race is going to be finished.
Yeah, he actually just tested it for a few yards, or feet rather, and then decided it's undrivable and towed it back to the pits. So his race, sadly, for today is done. The race for P11, though, it's far from over.
Pellegrini had that little bit of mistake, but didn't lose any time, and he is still putting all the heat he can on Barry West.
Let's see if he is able to do something out of turn 2. He had a few drives already up to that turn 3 of Barry West. But let's have a look how he does it this time around. A little bit of a different line for Barry West and Pellegrini over that turn 2. Not able to close in though enough for any action to happen into turn 3. So they stay once again 11th and 12th.
Yeah, it looks like Noah Lampia has decided to kick it into gear as he's opened the gap up all the way up to 2 seconds. It was down to 1.4 not that long ago, so that battle is effectively over at the moment.
Yeah, Noah Lampia is saying enough is enough, and he opened that gap again. The last time around 4/10 between the two drivers, as you can see on that. A nice little overlay there. And now the gap opened up back to 2.3 seconds. It was already down to 1.3 seconds. So it makes me wonder if Juha just laid back a little bit and saw what he can do without stressing out too much.
Yeah, he was probably just taking it easy and then realized Alex was getting a little too close. Oh, no!
Oh, Juha! Talking about taking it easy, Juha Noah Lampia, into the wall he goes, and that is his race done. His car is sideways.
Oh, wow. That was one of those places I talked about getting the power down. And he's going to be very disappointed and mad with himself because he had this race under control. And he's going to be able to keep going, but his car's got heavy damage. And you can see he just gets on the power and just slides it and then
Oh, Pellegrini now also with a crash. Pellegrini and Suarez came together over the hump in turn 2. Yes, out of turn 2 it all happened. Pellegrini got loose over the hump and Suarez nowhere to go.
Yeah, here they come down the start-finish straight into turn 1. This battle's been pretty tight for a while, and this little hump is very tricky, and he just clips the outside wall and then clips the other car, and just as I said, everybody's running a clean race, all of a sudden things are happening.
Yeah, no matter what you drive, be it a Lotus 79, an IndyCar IR18 or a Chevrolet Pace car, it's gonna get you.
And Noah Lampe has pitted his car here. He's pretty much out of the race. He's still sitting in the car. He hasn't exited yet, but I'm sure he's not happy. He had this race pretty much under control. That's going to move Alex Millward up to the front. He's got a healthy gap over Gurno Frisch. No problems there. Matt Wood not really doing much for Gurno either. So pretty quiet in the top 3. Even the top, all the way down, basically the top 5. Pretty quiet.
Ooh, I just switched to Matt Wood and he nearly touched the wall out of turn, what is that, turn 12, the second last right-hander, and I think he might actually have touched that wall there, under the Motor City banner.
Well, Barry West he lost Pellegrini, but that didn't change his race much. He's got John Atkinson Jr. right behind him at the moment.
And yep, sure enough, there on the replay you were able to see it. Matt Wood did touch the wall on the outside. So we have to see how that is going to affect him in the long run. We still have quite a ways to go, about 13 laps to go here in this motor race.
That's just called using all the track.
Right.
If you could come in with a white walled tire with no damage, you did it absolutely perfect.
John Atkinson taking the pressure to Barry West now, as you already mentioned. And let's see if he can do the switcheroo. No, does not get the power down soon enough, so Barry West remains in that P10.
Yeah, he's done a good job holding off this group as they kind of fall by the wayside, but his race is not over. We have, it looks like 11 laps to go. Oh, he gets a big slide coming onto the straightaway. This is going to open up the door for John Atkinson. He's going to get the inside line going down into this tight, tricky right-hander at the end.
Let's see what he can do. They stay side by side, takes over the curb, nearly loses the car. Who is that slotting in behind? That is Dustin Herröder, taking advantage of that too, and Barry West going from 10th to 12th in just a matter of a few meters.
It looks like John came in a little hot and kind of sucked Barry into the corner as well, and that opened the door for Dustin. And real quickly went from 10th to 12th.
In behind, we also have a battle for P13. That is between Nicolas Mucanos and Ove Trengerate. Both of them climbing steadily. Nicolas Mucanos from 20th on the starting grid, now up to 13th, and Ove Trengerate from 16th up to 14th.
And earlier I said it was all quiet up front, but it looks like Gurno is struggling a little bit, and it's allowed Matt Wood to start closing in. He's bringing Nicola Kochi with him as well. So that battle for second is far from over. It's tightened up. Alex Millward has kind of left these guys in the dust, so he's all on his own.
Yeah, even Nicola Kochi is starting to gather up the pieces from Gernot Fritzsche. So Fritzsche is struggling, or continuing to struggle with his pace here today at Detroit.
Yeah, he's been good, but not great. You know, he's been able to run some clean laps, but it seems like he's made little mistakes here and there, which is not typical. And he's able to hold on, but it's definitely not over.
Well, if good takes you to a second place, then I would take that every single time I race. Let's see what they can do through the fountain section. Seems like Fritsche a little bit opening the gap through here. And yeah, it seems like Matt Wood is a little bit stronger through the fast turns, and Fritsche able to get up the pieces a little bit through the slower sections, so probably a little bit of a different philosophy on those setups. As they go through turns 1 and 2 for the 25th time of this race. 33 laps in total, so we're only 9 laps from the checkered flag. Currently having a look, apart from the battle for P10 between John Atkinson and Dustin Herrera, this is the closest battle right now.
This battle is going to go right down to the end between these three. I mean, you can't make any mistakes. As we've seen, you just clip the wall a little bit, and it could be the end of your race, is what happened to Noah Lampe.
And a quick update on Barry West. After getting overtaken by John Atkinson and Herrera at the same time through turn 7, he has now dropped all the way back to in front of Nicolas Mucanos. So if he continues his journey, he might lose another 2 positions to Mucanos and Trangrate.
Currently have 14 cars on the lead lap. That would be Ove, but he's been battling with Nicholas for a little bit.
Yeah, and not only that, but Trangrate also is the last car. Actually, no, Robert Simpkins is also still racing 3 laps down in 17th.
He got back out there. His car's not looking so hot, but he's definitely still putting laps in.
Obviously is going to be 15th now that he has lapped Johan Orlampi, who has stepped officially out of his car. He tried to go around for another lap, but he had to see that his car was too much damaged to continue safely on his journey. So he stepped behind a wall, and his race, sadly, on this Sunday is done.
Not much going on out there. Everybody's kind of separated out. Probably the best battle is that Barry West, Mucanos, and Trangrate battle, which is for 11th, 13th, and 12th, 13th, and 14th. Oh, here we go. Ove's finally getting close enough. Looks like Mucanos is going to force him to go around the outside into turn 3.
Is not able to get the power down over Trangrate, so he has to stay for one more lap in P14. But it really looked like Mucanos didn't get a great run out of turn 2. Actually, he got a little bit loose, so he had to lift out over that hump of turn 2. That is the explanation why Trangrate had that run. And as you can see ahead, that it's not that far ahead to Barry West. So these 2 cars are starting to really close in on Barry West.
Seven laps to go at the moment. Alex Miller's got control of the race. Done a good job. Started 3rd. Moved up to 1st with a good pass on Gurno, and then with the unfortunate end of Noah Lampe's race. Gurno's definitely not in the clear yet, as Matt Wood is still just keeping him honest. He's just close enough to see him, but not close enough to make a move just yet.
Yeah, Gernot Fritsche, he did pick up the pace in between. His last lap was a 20.258, which was his personal fastest lap. And that managed now to drop Nicola Kochi off this battle. So it's only once again just that battle between Gernot Fritsche and Matt Woodford, your P2 of this motor race, as we now have 6 laps to go. Matt Wood once again closing in a draft, but just way too far away to even think about a lunge down the inside of turn 3. But his last lap, I think, it was faster, but only by 8/100th of a second, so pretty much nothing with the gaps how they are for them right now.
Yeah, at the moment, Matt Wood, they seem pretty evenly matched. He needs Gurno to make a small error for him to get right there. Gurno doesn't do that very often, so it might be futile.
By the way, I did queue up earlier in the race a battle between Rob Olenek and Eduardo Prado for that 6th position, but since then Rob managed to pick up his pace ever so slightly, at least good enough to keep Prado away from him. So they are now lapping at pretty much the same speeds around this track and are staying at about 1.5 seconds.
That last lap, Matt Wood was able to about 1/10.5 faster than Gurno, so he's not giving up. And this is his championship battle right here as he's closing in. Ooh, Gurno looked like he made a little bit of mistake in the braking zone. Looked like he kind of rubbed the wall a little bit going into the corner under the brakes, and that's really brought Matt into the fray.
Yeah, Gernot Fitch not really himself right now, making ever so slightly mistakes, and thus keeping Matt Wood close to him. Now the gap really is closing down, and it makes me wonder if Matt Wood is going to try something a little bit more aggressive today, because obviously it is still the fight down for the championship, and it is only the second last race of the season.
He's going to have to get a little bit closer than he's at to really make any kind of real move. They are coming up to this fast right turn that leads onto the front straightaway. This is where he really needs to kind of close the gap, and it looks like Gurno is really strong through there as he gaps Matt again. And that's what's kind of hurting Matt, is that he's never close enough in the right sections.
Matt Wood, you didn't really see it because we were on board, but through that first right-hander off the double right, he did make a mistake, had a big slide, so he lost that position again, or rather the track position behind Gernot Fritzsche. So he has to work yet again back up to the back of Gernot Fritzsche. So it really seems like an inverse rubber band between the two, where Matt Wood makes a mistake, then Gernot Fritzsche makes a mistake, Matt Wood makes a mistake, and so they trade back and forth.
I think that just goes to show how hard they're really trying to hold their positions.
Trying to hold their position is also the key award for Barry West, who now finally got caught by Nicholas Mucanos, but Barry West still continues to ride in that P12 ahead of Mucanos and Trengrid. Here they come now, also 4 laps to go for them over the hump of turn 2, 30th time for them, successfully managing the bumps and jumps of this track.
As we see on screen there, with Ove still trying to get around Nicholas Mucanos. He's been behind him almost the whole race. And Nicholas did a good job, starting 20th up to 13th so far. Ove he had that one chance to get by him, and it hasn't been able to work out since then.
Yeah, Mucanos and Tom and Holder are the 2 big gainers of this race. Having to say, the guys who are still racing, these 2 are your movers of the race, both +7 on the field.
Oh, as we were just talking about this, Rob Olenek starting to back up into Eduardo Prada. He's worked very hard to get to this point. He's only got 3 laps to go, but he can see that 6th place in front of him now.
Olenek, he was faster, but now it seems like the pace has gone back to Eduardo, and he is really closing in right now. Maybe Olenek even had a mistake because his last lap was a 21.74 compared to the 20.8 of Eduardo Prado in that beautiful yellow car.
Yeah, beautiful yellow car racing for that old Brazilian sponsorship there. It's a classic sponsor that was seen on a lot of cars back in the day.
Up in front, you're not missing anything between Gernot Fritzsche and Matt Wood. They still stay at about those 8/10 of a second. So no anything given so far from Gernot Fritzsche to Matt Wood.
Yep, we also got a battle here at 12th as Barry West is, I don't know if he's made a mistake, but all of a sudden Nicholas Mukanos and Ove are right on the back of him. So Barry's struggling still to hold on to that 12th spot. He was in 10th for a long time, made a mistake and got passed, and now he's got two more guys trying to get by him.
Keeping Barry West honest. Easy to make mistakes here because of how bumpy this track is and how extremely stiff these old cars are. Matt Wood, I don't know, it seems like he did close in again because the gap is now down to about 5/10 of a second. But Matt Wood with a little bit of a mistake through turn 2, so he was not able to do anything. Alex Millward, though, up ahead in P1, last time around a 19.942, which I think is the fastest lap of this race. Yes, it is in very deed. So, second last lap for him, it was the fastest lap. Obviously, took already a white flag. He's not going to run into any problems of lapping people. Going down the long bend straight for him. Very last lap, a very quiet race from Alex Millward apart from the battle with Gernot Fritzsche.
And then we got this battle right here going down to the last lap. Gernot's really having to hold on to keep Matt Wood. I don't think he's close enough to make any kind of move unless Gernot does make a mistake, but he's definitely caught back up to him.
Through the last two turns, though, goes Alex Millward. Give it up for your winner of round 11 here from beautiful Detroit Belle Isle. Alex Millward wins this race ahead of Gernot Fritzsche and Matt Wood. So this battle continues into next round. Rob Olenek continues to be ahead of Eduardo Prado, and the options are running out as the last braking zone is coming up. Now, they both successfully managed that one last tricky right turn, and they both also managed to get through that. So with that, Rob Olenek taking away 6th place ahead of Eduardo Prado.
Yeah, and we were watching this. We did see didn't see Nicholas Mukanos was able to get around Barry West on the last lap. That was done going into turn 3 around the outside.
And these guys now have Robert Simpkins ahead of them, who is a lap car to them. Oh, and Barry West with the mistake!
He's going to lose another spot here. Oh, maybe. Nope, he's going to hold on to it. That was the most exciting part of the race.
Train Great has a run, though, up to the finish line. Will he be able to take it? It's a long run to the finish line. No! Barry West took it away just about over the line. 5/1000 of a second between Barry West and Train Great.
Wow, after all that, we got that exciting finish for basically 13th spot. That was pretty exciting, and look at that. Can't get much closer than that on a track like this, so nicely done.
And we actually have the replay for Nicholas Mukanos, his pass on Barry West.
Yeah, he gets a really good run off of turn 2 here, as you're going to see. And Barry makes him go around the outside, so he definitely held his line, but Mukanos earned it the hard way.
A beautiful pass there by Mukanos, a real power move. Barry West actually had a little bit of a slide there on the apex, so that also helped Nicholas overtake Barry for that P12 at the very end. But with that, we are gonna quickly take a breather here from the state of Michigan. But the show is far from done. We're going to step aside for just a few moments to take a breather, but we'll be back quickly for the post-race show where we will run you down the unofficial finishing order, talk to some of the drivers, and close off an eventful race. So don't step away too far, as GSRC will be back after these messages. Welcome back to the beautiful island in the Detroit River. This is the Lotus 79 post-race show streaming into your home live on the Global SimRacing Channel. And first things first, it's the beautiful race of Alex Milward getting himself on top of the race results here because of a very rare mistake of Juha Norolampi. Pinning himself into the outside wall of turn 6. Second place goes to Gernot Fritzsche, about 4/10 ahead of Matt Wood. The two championship fighters gonna go into the last round. Nikola Kochi 8 seconds behind in 4th place. Adam Fraser 5th. Rob Olenek takes 6th place away from Eduardo Pereira, who tried the best he could. Tommy Unhola, great race by him, from 15th up to 8th place at the very end. John Stevens, 9th place, and John Atkinson takes away P10.
Coming home 11th is going to be Dustin Herder. Had a good run there, starting 14th, 11th. Really great run from Nicholas Mukanos from 20th to 12th. We saw that pass right at the end on Barry West, who did come home 13th, barely holding off Ove Trenkerade for 14th. Next car down was 3 laps down here. Robert Simpkins in 15th, and then the rest of these drivers, I believe, were out of the race. Norolampi, unfortunately, started on pole, bringing home 16th with a small mistake on his own. Adnan Dzerevic down in 17th. Alberto Pellegrini, another mistake, down to 18th. Pablo Suarez finishes 19th, and Pekka Kalahara in 20th.
Steve Sals, the number 21, finishes, or rather wrecks out in 21st. Todd Herner and Keith Herner take 22nd and 23rd. And the last car not starting the race did start the race but crashed out sadly on lap 1 down in 24th, Georgis Kalakelteris. But now, Alex Milward is gonna talk to us. And Alex, great start by you, and then you really had to work to get past Gernot.
Yeah, I was already sweating by then. I had a tough race earlier of Gernot where I couldn't pass him. This time he made a mistake in the first S's and I capitalised. I didn't think I'd make it on the outside, but I don't know if I outbraked him or he just didn't have the momentum.
Yeah, either way, you got past him finally, and then you kind of tried to get up to Yuha, but kind of like was an inverse rubber band between you two, where you're gonna get faster and then he's gonna get faster again. You're gonna get faster, he's gonna get faster, and at the very end, Yuha made a mistake pushing too hard and dragging him out. So you must be very happy with your performance, though.
Yeah, very humbled. I mean, it's taken a fair few years to be up there racing with the likes of Gernot and Yuha and Matt. Yeah, to be chasing Yuha down and gaining on him, losing a bit, gaining again, it was quite something. I felt just before he made a mistake, he was starting to put the hammer down again. Yeah, so I'm not sure if I would have caught him eventually, but the competition was there.
Competition was there. Now, Alex, last question. Laguna Seca next up. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, Laguna Seca is a good track, good race. I'm sure we'll get a large field for it as well. It's popular for all. Is it one of the free tracks?
Well, hopefully Laguna Seca is going to go as well for you as Detroit did here. Thanks for talking to us, Alex. Give it up for your race winner, Alex Millward, here in round 11 at Detroit Raceway. Next up, Richie Hearn is going to talk with your current points leader, Gernot Fritsche.
Hey, Gernot, once again, great job finishing second, although probably looked a little harder than, was a little tougher than it looked out there. You really had a battle with Matt Wood right there at the end.
It seems like I'm having a huge battle in every single race at the moment. The competition is really tough.
How was the car on this track? I'm assuming there was a little bit of a handful. We saw some small mistakes by people, but all in all, everybody did a good job. But I'm sure it wasn't easy.
Yeah, it's a really tough track. It's really bumpy. So yeah, I don't know what the best approach to a good setup is. I was really struggling yesterday, and at least I had a better pace today. Yeah, but it's a tough track because you can't really afford to make a tiny mistake. Otherwise, you end up in the walls, and that's not what you want to do.
No, definitely not with 2 races to go, and now we only have 1 race left. I'm assuming we will see you at Laguna next week.
Yeah, definitely. I'll try to be there. Not 100% sure yet, but yeah, things are looking good. And yeah, hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thanks for joining us, and that's your second place finisher, Gernot Fritsche.
Next up, the driver of Nicola Kochi finishing down in 4th place. And Nicola, we have to ask, were you just keeping up with these guys because of their mistakes, or were you also struggling for your pace a little bit here today at Detroit?
Hi, Stefan. Can you hear me well?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I was pushing, but at the same time I was struggling because I had quite few issues with the setup on the bumpy sectors. And the thing is, in this track, there are a lot of bumps, so I couldn't almost in some corners I couldn't almost like keep the eyes on the road because my car was jumping like a kangaroo, and I tried to fix this issue all week, but honestly I couldn't do it. I tried to make the car softer, but it didn't improve that much. So I just tried to stay with the fast guys. I knew that I was a little slower, but I think that I cannot do better than this with my current setup.
Well, still a 4th place, only 4 seconds behind 3rd place. You still must be very happy with your performance.
Yeah, kinda. Not really. I would prefer to at least learn something about the process that I have to follow to make the car faster and my driving faster as well. But this track, as Gernot said, it's very very tricky. And if you I think that if you are not have a good experience racing here, you're gonna find a lot of a lot of bad times. And I think that's exactly what happened to me and Gernot as well. But I want to congratulate both you and Alex for the win. But you, even if you did like a mistake, it was still had like an incredible pace as well as Alex. So my congrats goes to them.
Well, Nicola, either way, thanks to talking to us, and we hope to see you again next week for the season finale at Laguna Seca.
Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna be there. I like the track. I hope to get some more points, and thank you guys for all the work you do.
Thank you for participating in the lead, because without you, we would not be able to put up a show. And next up, Richie Hearn talking to Tommy Onhola.
Yes, Tommy, awesome race. Very exciting. I'm sure starting 15th was not where you wanted to be, but you made some great passing. We covered a lot of them. So tell us a little bit about how it went.
Well, yeah, yeah, qualifying was really bad, and first lap felt good, but it was low for some reason, and then I hit the wall a bit. It didn't matter, but it took my time away, so. But yeah, the start of the race was, I was just careful and wanted to make first lap and see what happens, and then I started getting tire temperatures and making passes, and it was really fun to race with guys. And I think I had a bit less downforce than a couple of cars, so it was interesting as we had our strengths in different places in track, and it was really fun. Actually, it was my first race with this car there, and it was really hard preparation as I had IndyCar race there on the same track yesterday night, so it was kind of interesting to hop in Lotus now, but it went kind of well, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, it definitely looked like you were having some fun. And yeah, I guess you could say, you look like you did have some lower downforce because most of your passes were all done into turn 3, but trying to hang on to that car through like the fountain section and where it's really bumpy without that downforce, it's not easy to do, but it definitely looked like you're having a good time.
Oh yeah, it was really fun. For some reason, I didn't have so good race and car. I didn't feel car so well, and it was really hard in those lower parts. As well, maybe it would have been bit safer to have more downforce, but I mean, on good laps it was great, but I didn't think I might have a bit worse laps there, so it was not so great. But it was really fun in the end, so nice to drive.
That's good to hear. So hopefully we'll see you at Laguna Seca next week.
I'm going to try and make it. I might be home only on Sunday, and I don't know the time yet, so it's gonna be challenging. And if I have time all weekend, I'm gonna do Le Mans 24. So it's going to be. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it, but I really want to do so. I'm gonna try. So, by the way, did you notice my one of red helmet?
Yes, we didn't mention it, but I noticed it for obviously for Nicky Lauda.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, a lot of great tributes going around in the world and for the real racing stuff. And yeah, he was a good driver, great guy, and a lot of passion for the sport. Everybody will miss him.
Oh yeah, of course. He was so big guy into motorsport and Formula One, and of course off the track and everything, and common sense guy. And maybe everyone doesn't know about his. I mean everything with planes and stuff, and he has been really big name there also. So it's very sad to lose a legend, but it's life. So
Well, Tommy, thank you for joining us, and congratulations. Even though it's 8th, you had a great run from 15th, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you, and see you guys.
Hi, making me all sentimental there at the very end. Obviously a lot of louder tributes being erased in the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship, but sadly, we have to close off today's broadcast. And as always, GSRC would like to thank everyone in the Classic Team Championship community for bringing us back for another season of classic Formula 1 racing action. Right now on your screen you can see all of the companies that provide us with their great hard and software GSRC uses to deliver you the best possible show. Additional thanks to Joan Lalonde who provides us with her great masterpieces. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. The classic Lotus Grand Prix series, as already mentioned, will return in 1 week's time from their big season finale from the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. iRacing and GSRC will be there. We hope you'll be too. Next up on GSRC will be the coverage of the Weekend Warriors. Coverage will air in just a short bit at 3:40 p.m. Eastern or at the iRacing Esports Network. All of the upcoming races for our other series are right now sliding across your screen, so do check them out and mark them down in your calendar to not miss another second of exciting racing action. Also, if you'd like to find out more about GSRC, please visit us at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also find us on social media platforms, Twitter with @GSRChannel, Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel, or on Instagram at GSRC_Ram. Obviously, if you haven't done so yet, become a YouTube subscriber by hitting that red subscribe button just below this broadcast. Maybe even hit that bell to get notified when we next go live with more exciting racing action. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, Amjad, Richie, and Dougie, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in as Alex Milward took away the victory at the Detroit Raceway at Belle Isle. With that said, until next time, Servus and sayonara! And as always, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you on the track.